4:30 if the court will allow.
All right. I would indicate I can go as late as 4:45. The timing is not for myself, but we have other people who are present in the courtroom, and people who in fact don't work for the court. The clerk works for the clerk's office, which is separate from the court. We also have to close the courtroom and the courthouse itself, and so we have security and all of those things, which is why 4:45 is as late as I can go. We can readdress things as we are getting into it, and talk about, well, let's be optimistic that we can conclude Dr. Stankus this afternoon. I certainly will be prepared to get her on the stand as soon as she arrives. Thank you for that updated information, Mr. Kading. Ms. Zoe?
Your Honor, I apologize. I just wanted to also let the court know that the state's first witness, Senovia Rivas, she is the forensic nurse examiner who conducted the strangulation exam, and I have spoken with Mr. Kading and Mr. Leary. Given the amount of information that is in her report, rather than many times of refreshing her recollection, because she cannot remember every single injury and the point in time at which it occurred, more or less, is my way of describing it. Defense does not have any issues with her, in essence, reading from her report in certain circumstances, so to move her testimony along.
All right, thank you. Is that your agreement, Mr. Kading?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so Ms. Zoe, obviously consistent with the rules, the exhibit normally is provided to the witness, and then they are asked if they can need it to refresh their recollection. Instead of using that procedure, the exhibit will simply be provided to her, and she will refer to it as necessary to answer questions.
Your Honor, I can't let the court know that I plan on doing, I guess, a little bit of foundation to have her at least say that she cannot remember every detail, and she would need to review her report to answer certain questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Leary, do you have any preliminary issues for the court's consideration?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, to go back now to the issue raised by Ms. Stone, the court's ruling as it relates to media being able to record or photograph this proceeding in any fashion includes the restriction that no minor or the alleged victim who was a minor at the time that this incident occurred or allegedly occurred. And I am prohibiting there to be any publishing or recording of the minor victims or the alleged victim. So that includes not only during their testimony in court, but also when exhibits are published that contain images of these individuals. And when I said no recording, I have and continue to allow audio recording, but not anything that captures their image. That is not allowed. It has never been allowed under the terms of my pretrial ruling and should not be occurring. Bring the jury in, please. You can go ahead and bring your witness in, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please be seated. Good morning, members of the jury, and welcome back. We are going to continue with the presentation of evidence. Ms. Zoe, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state would like to call Senovia Rivas.
Come forward, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
Please come forward and be seated. Ms. Zoe, you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. Fine.
The microphone can adjust, and then if you just need to speak into the microphone, but leave about 4 to 5 inches between yourself and the microphone. If you could please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Senovia Rivas, R-I-V-A-S.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
How are you employed?
I'm a health service administrator at Nisqually Correctional Facility, and I'm also a forensic nurse examiner.
And you indicated you're a health service administrator. What is a health service administrator?
I run the medical department at the Nisqually Jail.
Okay, and what are some of your responsibilities as a health service administrator?
I oversee the medical department. I have about 40 employees that I manage, and I provide patient care. Sometimes I have to cover the floor, and I manage the relationship between custody and medical.
Okay, and you also indicated you are a forensic nurse examiner. And what hospitals do you provide services to as a forensic nurse examiner?
I work at St. Pete's in Lacey, Centralia Hospital, Madigan on JBLM, and Jefferson Healthcare in Port Townsend.
Okay, and when you say you are so you indicated you're a health service administrator and you're also a forensic nurse examiner for the hospitals you mentioned. Are both occupations full-time, or how does that work?
I'm full-time at the jail, excuse me, and then I work part-time on call for the other hospitals.
Okay, and Ms. Rivas, when you say on-call, what do you mean by that?
I pick up shifts, and then when needed, they call me on the days that I'm on call, and I perform the exams.
Okay, and if you could please describe to the jury your education background.
My education, I have a bachelor's degree in nursing.
Okay. And then in addition to your bachelor's degree in nursing, have you attended any additional trainings?
Yes.
And what are some of those trainings?
I have about 125 hours in adult and pediatric SANE training. I also have strangulation training and Are you okay? I am.
Do you need some water?
I do, yes, please.
Okay, we'll get you some water.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. You indicated you have, as part of your additional training, you mentioned adult and pediatric SANE. What is SANE? Is that an acronym?
Yes, it's sexual assault nurse examiner.
Okay. And you also what is a sexual assault nurse examiner?
I provide exams to individuals that report that they have been sexually assaulted.
Okay. And you also indicated that you have strangulation training. And what is that training composed of?
It's training on how to perform or conduct strangulation exams.
Okay. And when it comes to conducting strangulation exams, where are those examinations conducted at?
in the emergency department at the hospital.
The hospitals you mentioned that you're on call for?
Yes.
Okay. And when you conduct strangulation examinations, do you only conduct examinations on adults or on children or both?
Adults and adolescents and pediatrics.
Okay. And approximately how many strangulation exams have you conducted?
Approximately 10 to 13.
Okay. You indicated that you are when you're on call for the hospitals such as Providence St. Peter's and Providence Centralia, Madigan, and the hospital you mentioned in Port Townsend, you indicated you're on call as a forensic nurse examiner. What is a forensic nurse examiner?
A forensic nurse examiner is, I perform sexual assault exams or non-fatal strangulation exams.
Okay. And then is your top priority as a forensic nurse examiner patient care still?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Rivas, in the medical context, what is strangulation?
Strangulation is pressure applied to the neck with the intent to impede blood flow and breathing.
Okay. And you also indicated that you have training and also experience in conducting non-fatal strangulation. What do you mean by non-fatal strangulation?
That is when someone does not die.
Okay. And we often hear people sometimes say they're being choked when describing pressure being applied to their neck. In the medical context, what is choking?
Choking is when a foreign body blocks the airway.
Okay. And as a forensic nurse examiner, how you indicated that you will be on call for the hospitals. When you're on call for the hospitals, are you located at the hospital or are you located somewhere else?
No, I'm at my house, I'm at my home when I'm on call.
Okay. And then how are you notified that your services are needed?
The hospital will contact me and let me know that there's an exam. My services are needed.
Okay. And when the patient comes to, you indicated strangulation exams are conducted at the emergency rooms in the hospitals. When a patient comes to the emergency room and advised, let's say they have been strangled, are they being evaluated by a medical doctor first, or do they see a forensic nurse examiner like yourself first?
That depends.
Okay. What does that depend on?
It depends on how fast I can arrive to the ER, how busy the ER is, and I guess the nature of the person's injuries.
Okay. And how is a strangulation exam typically conducted?
It's conducted in the emergency department, and if I'm performing it myself, it's the head-to-toe assessment. I gather background information and then document my findings and consult with the provider.
Okay. And Ms. Rivas, you're also very soft-spoken. If you could speak
sorry.
up and you can actually move the chair closer to the microphone if you need to.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. You indicated that the strangulation exam you described it as a head-to-toe exam. What is a head-to-toe exam?
Head-to-toe is I start on literally from the head and, observe the scalp, look inside the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and just move down, observing in every inch of the body.
Okay.
With visually.
Okay. And as far as a head-to-toe exam, you mentioned that you described it as you're literally observing a patient from the top of the head and every inch of the body until you get to their feet. As part of that examination, are you also asking the patient questions about how they're feeling in certain areas?
Yes, I do ask if they have any concerns.
Okay. And what's the importance of asking the patient if they have any concerns?
To focus my exam in those areas and pay closer attention to the areas that they report.
Okay. When it comes to, based on your training experience with strangulation, when it comes to strangulation, are there sometimes signs or symptoms as a result of strangulation that cannot be physically observed with the eyes?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Rivas, do you recall seeing a patient by the name of Fatima Ali on October 18th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay, and where did you see her?
At St. Peter's
Okay, in Lacey?
in Lacey.
Okay. And do you remember approximately what time you saw Ms. Ali?
I believe it was around 6 p.m.
Okay. And did you in fact conduct a strangulation exam with Ms. Ali?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And when you first met, you indicated that you did the examination with Fatima at the emergency department at St. Peter's Hospital. Was it where in the emergency department? Was it in the lobby? Was it in a room?
In an exam room.
Okay. And when you first met with Fatima, what did you do?
I introduced myself and explained who I am and what I do, and the exam itself. I typically like to lay out what I do. I basically like to lay out what I do.
Okay, what's the importance? You indicated that well, let me ask you this. You said you introduce yourself and you explain to the patient what you do. As part of that explanation, do you also advise them what the examination process will look like?
Yes.
And ultimately, is it up to the patient to decide whether they want to go forward with the exam?
Yes, I make it really clear that they're in control of the exam, and that I always say they're driving the bus. So if at any time they want to stop, they're completely in control.
Okay. And did Fatima choose to proceed with the exam?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated earlier, as part of the strangulation exam, that you would do a head-to-toe visual I use the word inspection. A visual inspection. Did you do that in this case with Fatima?
Yes.
And did you also document your findings or observations of any external injuries?
Yes.
And the documentation process, do you document that as part of a report that you would generate?
Yes.
Okay. And during the strangulation exam, you described earlier that during a strangulation exam, you also ask the patient questions about any reported symptoms or concerns they may have that you may not otherwise see with your own eyes. Did you do that in this case with Fatima?
Yes.
And did she provide you with responses?
Yes.
And did you also document those responses in your report?
I did, yes.
And to assist with your testimony, would you need to review your report to answer certain questions?
Yes, that would be helpful.
Okay. And you indicated that as part of the strangulation exam, you will ask the patient questions about any symptoms or concerns they may have that you may not otherwise visually see yourself with your eyes. What's the purpose of asking the patient about any symptoms or concerns that they may be exhibiting?
The importance is, again, to help me assess and examine potentially any further cannot think of the word off the top of my head, sorry. Procedures or scans that may need to happen.
Okay. And based on your training experience, are there certain symptoms you would expect to see from a patient who may have had pressure applied to their neck?
Yes.
And what are some of those symptoms?
Difficulty speaking, they could have change in their voice, memory loss, difficulty breathing, loss of consciousness, pain in the neck, some bruising, abrasions, bleeding from the eyes and nose, nausea, vomiting. There could be incontinence of the bowel and bladder,
Okay.
things like that.
And all those symptoms that you described, do you see that in every patient that you conduct a strangulation exam on?
No.
Okay, and why is that?
Everybody's different. Everybody presents differently, and sometimes you could have significant amount of injuries, and others you could see nothing visibly, but there could be some internal injuries. It's just case by case.
Okay. Your Honor, permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Ms. Rivas, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 82. If you could look at that exhibit and let me know when you're done looking through it. And Ms. Rivas, do you recognize Exhibit 82?
Yes.
And what is Exhibit 82?
It's my documentation of my strangulation exam with Fatima.
Okay. And would it help refresh your recollection in answering some questions? Let me rephrase my question. Would it help refresh your recollection to review and to read from your report in answering certain questions that will be asked?
Yes.
Okay.
You have permission to review your report if you are unable to answer the question directly to help refresh your recollection.
Thank you.
And Ms. Rivas, as part of the strangulation exam, do you, you indicated that you do a head-to-toe exam, but you also testify that you would ask the patient about their symptoms and concerns. As part of, in addition to those things, do you also ask the patient to sort of describe in their own words about what happened during a strangulation episode?
Yes.
And what is the purpose of asking the patient about having them relate to you what had occurred?
To help drive my exam and the areas that I need to focus on.
Okay. And in this case, did you ask Fatima to sort of describe to you in her own words what she remembered happening?
Yes.
Okay. And did she in fact tell you what had occurred during the incident?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could, would it please, well, let me ask you this. What did Fatima tell you about what had occurred during the alleged strangulation incident?
She told me a lot. But
Ms. Rivas, I'm specifically asking you about what Fatima indicated occurred that resulted in, if any, pressure applied to her neck.
she reported to me that she was grabbed by her sweatshirt and placed in a headlock.
Okay, and does she indicate who grabbed her by her sweatshirt and placed her in the headlock?
Yes,
And who was that?
her dad.
Okay, and what does she say, does she tell you what happened after being placed in a headlock by her dad?
That she lost consciousness.
Okay, does she tell you anything else that she remembers seeing or hearing?
Could you elaborate on that question?
Sure. So you indicated that she was grabbed by her sweatshirt and that she was placed in the headlock, and you indicated she lost consciousness. Does she say anything else about what she remembers seeing right before, or right after losing consciousness?
She reported that she felt dizzy.
Okay.
She reported some numbness.
Okay. Does she also indicate anything about what had occurred with her mom as part of the strangulation exam?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She said that her mom grabbed her, put her hands on her neck.
Okay. And did Fatima indicate to you that when her mom did that, what, if anything, does she do?
She asked her to stop.
Okay. And Ms. Rivas, you testified that as part of the exam, you will ask the patient about any reported symptoms they have. In this case, did you ask Fatima whether she had a headache at any point?
Yes.
And what was her response?
Yes. She had a headache.
Okay, and did she indicate whether she had the headache during the alleged strangulation, afterwards, or during the time of the exam?
May I reference my...
Yes.
You may.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor.
She reported a headache after.
Okay. And what about feeling dizziness or lightheaded? Did you ask Fatima whether she felt dizzy or lightheaded at any point?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She reported she felt dizzy and lightheaded after.
Okay. And when you say after, are you referring to after the alleged incident?
Correct.
Okay. And then did you also ask Fatima whether or not she had loss of consciousness during the incident?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She reported she lost consciousness during the incident. Yes.
Okay. And then what about any memory loss? What does she report about memory loss, if any?
She reported that she was having some memory difficulties.
During the incident, afterwards, or during the time of the exam?
During the incident.
Okay. And what if, did she provide you with any other details about memory loss during the incident?
May I?
You may. You have ongoing permission
Ongoing,
to refer
okay.
to your report.
Thank you. She reported fuzzy feeling like her whole life was flashing before her eyes.
Okay. And then what about confusion or agitation? Does she report having any confusion as part of this incident?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She had confusion during and after.
Okay. And what about any weakness or numbness? Does she report any weakness or numbness as part of this incident?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She had weakness and numbness during the strangulation.
Okay. And what about vision changes?
Yes.
And what was her response?
That she had visual changes during the exam. that everything was getting darker and darker.
Okay, and when you say, I'm trying to see clarification, you indicated that Fatima indicated that she had vision changes during the exam?
I'm sorry, during the strangulation, correction.
And did she report whether she had any blood coming from her ear, nose, or mouth?
She did not report any, and I did not observe any.
Okay. And then what about any ringing in her ears?
She did report ringing in her ears after the strangulation.
Okay. And then what about neck pain? Did she report having any neck pain?
Yes,
And what was her response?
she had neck pain during, after, and at the time of the exam.
Okay. And then did she report whether she had a sore throat as it relates to the incident?
She did.
And what was her response?
That she had a sore throat after and at the time of the exam.
Okay. And what about any difficulty swallowing?
She reported that she had difficulty swallowing after and during the exam.
Okay. And did she report whether she had any pain with swallowing as it relates to this incident?
Yes,
And what was her response?
she did have it after and during my exam.
Okay. And then what about any voice changes or hoarseness?
She did have hoarse changes and voice, yes.
Okay. And was that, at what point does she have the voice change or hoarseness in her voice?
She reported after.
Okay. And then does she report whether she had any hyperventilation as part of this incident?
Yes, she did.
And what was her response?
After the strangulation.
Okay. And what about difficulty breathing? Did she report having any difficulty breathing?
Yes, she did report difficulty breathing.
Okay. Was it at what point?
After and during our exam.
And when you say after, are you referring to after the exam or after the incident?
After the incident.
Okay. And then does she indicate whether she had pain in any other areas of her body?
She reported pain on her left shoulder and her left hip.
Okay. Believe that they have been strangled. Do you also ask them questions about, from their own standpoint, the sort of the level of pressure that they felt that was applied to their neck area?
Yes.
Okay. And when you ask the question, is the estimated level of pressure on a scale, or how is that? How do you ask about that question?
It's based on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the worst.
Okay. And then did you ask Fatima that question?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She said it was a 5 out of 5.
Okay. And did she indicate what her estimated length of time was as it relates to the pressure that was applied to her neck?
I'm going to reference my notes. She said about 5 minutes.
Okay. And as part of that examination process, does she, you ask her questions about, as it related to her dad, does she also make any statements about what, if anything, her mom did to her during the incident?
That she put her hands on her neck.
Okay. And did she also indicate what she was feeling or thinking was going to happen to her during the alleged strangulation?
She thought she was,
Overruled.
She thought she was going to die.
Okay. And Ms. Rivas, you talked about earlier with regards to the strangulation exam that part of it involves sort of a visual head to toe exam. Did you do that in this case with Fatima?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also document your observations in your report?
Yes.
Okay. And when you did the examination, well, let me ask you this question. When Fatima first arrived at the ER, did she have clothes on?
Yes.
Okay. And then as part of the examination process, was her clothes left on or did they have to come off?
No, I asked my patients to put a gown on, a hospital gown.
And you testified that as part of the head-to-toe exam, you described the process in which you would conduct the head-to-toe exam. Did you follow that same procedure and process in this case with Fatima?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what, if any, observations did you make regarding her face or her head or scalp area?
That she had some injuries.
Okay, and what were some of your observations?
She had some red spots on her face and neck, small red spots, and
Okay.
some abrasions.
Okay, and what are abrasions?
They're superficial injuries in the skin.
Okay. When you say superficial injuries, like, are we talking about, is that a bruise, is that a cut, is that a scrape?
Usually it would be considered like a scratch or a scrape. That
Okay. And based on your training experience with regards to strangulation, what can cause, during a strangulation episode, what can cause abrasions to the body?
they can be caused by an object or like the friction between the skin due to grabbing
Okay.
or the pressure applied.
Okay. And what about her shoulder area? Did you know any injuries to her shoulder area?
She had an abrasion on her shoulder.
Okay. And what about her neck area and under her chin?
She had an abrasion there as well.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was besides the examination that you conducted as part of Fatima's stay at the emergency room on October 18th, were further testing ordered for her?
Yes.
And what were some of those testing as it relates to the strangulation incident?
A head and neck CT.
Okay, what's a CT?
It's a scan.
Okay. And after the exam, was Fatima released from the hospital right away?
No.
Okay. And do you know whether she stayed at the hospital overnight or was she released like 3 or 4 hours later?
I believe she stayed a few days.
Okay. And you indicated that you've conducted more than one strangulation exam. Are all patients who arrive at the emergency room indicating that they may have been strangled? Do they all stay overnight or for a few
Objection,
days?
Your Honor. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Ms. Rivas, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 67 to 81. If you could look through those and let me know when you're done looking through them. Okay, and do you recognize what I've handed you?
Yes.
And what are Exhibits 67 to 81?
The photographs that I took of Fatima.
Okay, and do those photographs accurately depict your observations of the injuries that she had on her body?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state offers for admission to evidence Exhibits 67 to 81.
Any objection, Mr. Keating?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary?
No, Your Honor.
67 through 81 shall be admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may.
Ms. Rivas, I'm showing you what's been admitted as Exhibit 67. Can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
Fatima.
Okay. And when you first arrived at the emergency room, was Fatima already there?
Yes.
Okay, and was that, when you first saw her, is this basically her appearance?
Yes.
Exhibit 68, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
A closer up of her face.
Okay. And what is the purpose of taking sort of photographs of the patient's whole body or their face?
Reference and baseline.
What do you mean by reference and baseline?
A reference when we document injuries, and then appearance if there's any issues with like anything different with their clothes, and then a close up of her face.
Okay, close up. What's the purpose of taking a photo of close up of her face?
Just for documentation purposes.
Okay. Exhibit 69, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
The debris in her hair.
Okay. Exhibit 70, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
An abrasion on her neck.
Okay, and I'm pointing to this area that is sort of in the semi-upper portion of the center of the image. What are we looking at here?
A linear abrasion.
Okay. Exhibit 71, what are we looking at in this photograph?
The right side of her face, to just as a reference.
Okay.
And the area around her eye.
Okay, and when you say the area around her eye, what is the purpose of taking a photograph of the area around her eye?
To document abnormal findings.
Okay. And did you have abnormal findings around the area of her eye?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 72, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
Small red circular spots on her, around her eyes.
Okay, and when you say small red circular spots, are you referring to these, to this area that is in the middle of the image?
Yes.
Okay, and what were those small red dots?
They can be indicative of petechiae.
Okay, and what is petechiae?
Petechiae are the small, less than 3 millimeter spots that are indicative of like capillary rupture.
Okay. Exhibit 73, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
Her neck, an abrasion.
Okay.
Oh, that's-
And when you say abrasion, are you referring to this line that is in the middle of the image?
correct.
Okay. And is there also discoloration that is surrounding the abrasion here?
Yes.
Exhibit 74, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
A close-up of the neck and the abrasions on the neck.
Okay, and we sort of see you have what looks like a ruler that is going through the, going down the right-hand side of the image and then going across the bottom of the image. What's the purpose of having that ruler there?
To reference the length of the abrasions.
Okay. Exhibit 75, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
Abrasions.
Okay. And is there, we see here in the, sort of the center of the photograph, the coloration is different than compared to the rest of her skin tone. Is that discoloration on her neck area as well?
Yes.
Exhibit 76, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph? Let me zoom it out.
Close-up of the previous photo documenting the length with the ruler of the abrasion.
Okay. And is this on her left side of her neck or on her right, on the right side of her neck?
Right.
Okay. Exhibit 77, can you tell the jury what you're trying to document in this photograph? And then zoom in for you.
Abrasions.
Okay. And is this on her, on the left side of her neck or on her right side?
The left side.
Exhibit 78, can you tell the jury what they're looking at in this photograph?
The left side of her neck, abrasions.
Okay. And when you say abrasions, are you referring to sort of this circular line that is running down sort of the center of the image?
Yes.
And is there also discoloration surrounding the abrasion?
Yes.
Exhibit 79, can you tell the jury what is depicted in this photograph?
The ruler to measure and reference the left abrasions.
Okay. Exhibit 80, can you tell the jury what is being depicted in this photograph?
Fatima's left shoulder.
Okay. And what are you trying to document with regards to this photograph?
The abrasions.
Okay. Exhibit 81, can you tell the jury what is being depicted in this photograph?
Her left shoulder.
Okay.
Abrasions.
And is there also discoloration that is being depicted in the center of the photograph?
Yes.
No further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to clarify, you said, good morning, bud.
Good morning.
You said you arrived and did the examination at about what time?
About 6 p.m.
Okay. And you ran through a bunch of symptoms that had been reported during and after this incident,
Yes.
right? And that included headache, dizzy, lightheaded, and I'm going to combine both during and after, loss of consciousness, memory loss, confusion, weakness, numbness, vision changes, and ringing from ears, correct?
Correct.
And by the time you did this report at 6 o'clock, those had all resolved, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the only ones that were still noted at 6 o'clock were the neck pain, sore throat, difficulty swallowing, pain with swallowing, and difficulty breathing, correct?
Correct. And the body pain.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's down at the bottom. Body pain, and that was regarding left shoulder, right?
And left hip.
Okay. Left side of the body, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, all the information that you received from Fatima was her subjective responses to your questions, correct?
It was her response to my questions.
Right. So like you said, you gave her a scale of 1 to 5, and she said 5 on how hard the pressure was, correct?
Yes, she reported in her words, and then I asked her on a scale of 1 to 5.
Okay. So the subjective scale of her saying 1 to 5. Her 5 might be different than my 5.
Correct.
Right. Okay. And she indicated to you that the length of time that the pressure was applied to her was about 5 minutes. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that you had done how many strangulation examinations? 10 to 13, is that right?
Correct.
All right. And how long have you been doing those examinations?
4 years.
Okay. And how many hospitals are you currently working out of?
4.
4, okay. All right. I'm looking at your report. Do you still have your copy there in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at page 7 of 11 there.
And this is Exhibit
I'm sorry.
82.
Exhibit 82, sorry, Your Honor, I don't have it here in front of me. And I'm looking at page 7. These are where you're noting the examination signs, correct?
Correct.
And it's separated into 8 different categories. And each one of those, I believe, yeah, all 8 of those, and we can go through them just so we have them in the record. On the upper left, it starts face, head, and scalp. Underneath that is eyes. Underneath that is nose. Underneath that is shoulders. Underneath neck under chin on the right side. Underneath that ears. Underneath that mouth. Underneath that chest. Correct?
Correct.
All right, so that's essentially, it looks like the upper body.
Correct.
Right, okay. And I note that in each one of those, there's a box for petechia. Petechiae, if I'm pronouncing it
Petechiae?
right. Petechiae. None of those boxes are checked, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, your mention on the photo that we were looking at of petechia, that is something that you noted, but you didn't mark on that page. Is that right?
Correct. I put redness on the
Okay.
face.
All right. And is petechia something that you're trained to look for when you do your strangulation exams?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you worked at the jail?
Correct.
Okay. And do you know if petechia is something common to a lot of strangulations?
It can be.
Okay. But it doesn't always appear?
No.
Okay. Does the length of time that somebody is strangled, does that make a difference to you when you do your evaluation?
No.
Not at all? Okay. How about the period of length of unconsciousness? Does that make any difference to you?
No.
So why do you ask how long the strangulation is if it doesn't matter?
To get their note of it, and so that I can document their findings and then present them to the provider.
Okay. And so if they tell you that and you put it in your report, does everybody else rely on that?
What do you mean by that?
I
Everyone
mean-
else?
Just
Anyone-
wanna- just
I'm
wanna-
sorry.
You can't ask questions,
Oh,
but
sorry.
you can indicate that you don't understand the question.
I don't understand that.
Well, you've prepared this report, right? Strangulation?
Yes.
Okay. And so presumably you've prepared this, other people are going to look at it.
Correct.
Okay. And so they're going to look at the information provided and they are going to assume that you've reported it correctly, right?
Correct.
Okay. So everything that is reported, though, in this portion of the history of what happened comes from the person you're examining, right?
In what portion? I'm sorry, could you rephrase that?
When you're asking them questions, right? Estimated length of time pressure was applied.
Correct.
You're asking the questions of the person you're examining.
Yes.
Okay. And so if they're giving you erroneous information, that affects what other people are going to see, correct?
Possibly.
Okay. And so if they are operating with incorrect information, they could make incorrect assessments, right?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained?
Okay. All right. And just so we're clear, Fatima did tell you that she fell to the ground, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Leary, cross-examination?
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Approximately how long did you spend with Fatima?
Approximately with her 3 hours?
Okay. And that's entirely in the emergency department?
Correct.
And were you with her continuously, or were there breaks during that time?
I don't recall there were breaks.
Okay. And is that in your experience, is that a pretty typical duration?
Yes.
And your piece of this is kind of, as you've described, the medical examination of Fatima, correct?
Correct.
And then also kind of getting her verbal description, correct?
Correct.
And then, before you were called in, you had no idea of this, correct?
Correct.
And did you review police reports?
No.
And once you, finalize your report, and she is either admitted or discharged or further down the hospital process, do you have further involvement with her?
No.
Okay. And so, safe to assume that you didn't review videos of an incident, right?
Correct.
And that wouldn't normally be a part of your examination, right?
No.
Okay, so you're not necessarily, you have an investigatory role in a medical sense, correct?
I have a role to assess my patient in a
Okay.
medical way.
Okay, fair. And I'm not trying to, just in terms of you are providing information from a medical sense that is also going to then be used. It gets turned over. We're here in court, right? In a law enforcement aspect, right?
Potentially.
Okay. But it's not your role, and I'm not criticizing, but just kind of defining the parameters. So it's not your role to then further investigate, correct?
Correct.
You're not double checking what she reports based on videos, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not suggesting that you should, okay, just so we're clear. All right. So do you start with the description, or do you start with the medical examination? What's the order of procedure?
I start by getting consent, and then I do a medical history, and then ask the questions. Basically, I follow this form. So I
Okay.
start on page 1, and I move through to the end of the page.
Okay. And I see Providence, so this is a form that is prepared by Providence?
Correct.
And-
And we are referring to Exhibit 82.
Thank you, Your Honor. And do you have any say in what goes into the form?
No.
All right. So looking on page 3 of 82 is the checklist of symptoms, correct?
Correct.
And it's about 3/4 of a page, single space?
Yes.
And then you're talking, the options are no, during the incident, after the incident, and now, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you're able to differentiate, and she was able to differentiate for you kind of when she had certain symptoms, correct?
Correct.
And there were a few notes as to details that she provided, correct?
Correct.
And those details, as she described, pertain to the actions of her dad, correct?
I believe so, yes. Correct.
Okay. So then we go to page 4, and there is a very long handwritten page, correct?
Yes.
And that is in your handwriting, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that summarizes her description. I think that is entitled History of Assault, correct?
Correct.
And so at this point, she's then kind of going start to finish, kind of that whole day. There's some stuff that happens before the incident and after. Is that fair?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Now, earlier when she was talking to you, she described certain symptoms, headache, correct?
Yes.
Dizziness, lightheadedness, right?
Yes.
Memory loss, correct?
Yes.
And confusion,
Yes.
among other symptoms that you've previously testified about, correct?
Correct.
And the descriptions that she had are not inconsistent with strangulation, correct?
Correct.
And you weren't surprised to hear her talk about kind of the short symptoms I just listed, correct?
No.
Okay. And so When somebody loses consciousness, how is that medically described? What is going on to the person when they lose consciousness?
What is going on? Well, you could say passing out. They're not cognitively there.
Okay, so in terms of, so that would be describing of memory loss, correct? They
No.
don't- Okay, well, I think we all, this is where lawyers ask obvious questions and we all kind of understand the answer, but we still have to put it in the record. And so if somebody loses consciousness, they're not awake, is that fair?
Correct.
Okay, and so they're not perceiving events around them and able to describe. Is that a fair description?
Yes.
Okay. Which would, one side effect of that would be memory loss for that period of time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. She described confusion during and after.
Yes.
And so, did you describe, confusion can be like, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? That would be one form of confusion, correct?
Correct.
There could also be kind of confusion in a medical sense because of loss of oxygen or other things. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So when somebody loses consciousness, is it like a switch or is it you're kind of drifting in and you're drifting out?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer that.
Okay.
It depends.
Okay. And that's fair. And so when somebody then regains consciousness, they don't necessarily know how long they've been unconscious. Is that fair?
Correct.
And they may have confusion as to what just happened, right?
Possibly.
They could wake up or begin to regain consciousness in a different location from their last memory. Fair?
Fair.
And they may not necessarily know how they got there, correct?
Correct.
And what happened, obviously they wouldn't know what happened while they're unconscious, right?
Correct.
And they would have feelings, pain, correct? Let me rephrase. If they have pain, they don't necessarily know what caused the pain while they were unconscious. Fair?
Correct.
And other symptoms that may have been a product of what happened leading up to being unconscious and while they were unconscious, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So she described for you losing consciousness during the incident with her dad. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then she woke up either in close proximity to her mom or being held and grabbed by her mom, correct? If you recall.
Could you ask that again?
Yeah, so prior to losing consciousnness, she was in a struggle with her dad. That's what she described to you, correct?
Correct.
When she woke up, she wasn't still in the struggle with her dad. And I'm asking if you remember. If you don't, that's okay too.
I don't think she specified that.
Okay. Okay. So she just described for you regaining consciousness at some point and didn't delineate where her dad was, where her mom was.
I'm going to reference my note.
Perfect. And you're looking at Exhibit 82?
Yes.
She stated she was on the floor.
Okay. And didn't necessarily say in proximity to mom or to dad in that answer. Is that fair? When she woke up.
She stated she was on the floor and my mom was grabbing my neck.
Okay. And so then, did she tell you how long she was held by her mom?
No.
Did she tell you how long she was held by her dad?
She said it felt like 5 minutes.
For her dad?
Correct.
Okay. She then said that she was able to get free from her mom, correct?
Correct.
And then that somebody was holding me, but I don't know who it was, correct?
Correct.
And did she describe what that additional holding was?
No.
And at that point, then she runs to the school, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If we go to page 5. There's a pre-printed question as to what did the patient think was going to happen? And this is in pertaining to strangulation, correct?
Correct.
And her answer about that pertained to what her dad did, correct?
I believe. Just in general, with the situation.
Well, she said that she thought he was going to kill me, right?
Correct.
Okay.
She thought, yes, I thought I was going to die, that he was going to kill me.
Okay. And then when did the strangulation event stop? Isaiah punched Dad, knocking him out.
Correct.
Okay. So in terms of the strangulation event, it stopped when Dad was stopped by Isaiah. That's what she reported, correct?
Correct.
Okay. In terms of when you regain consciousness and there is a strangulation event, it can affect, we're talking about the neck, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yes. Okay, so strangulation isn't necessary. In the way we're talking about strangulation, we're not talking about compressing someone's chest, right? We're talking about compressing the neck.
Correct. Strangulation involves the neck.
Okay. And that can affect breathing, correct?
Yes.
And it can affect your voice
Yes.
and your ability to speak,
Yes.
particularly just after the pressure is released, correct?
No, it could present days later.
Okay. But in terms of, if somebody said, I had difficulty speaking after the pressure was released, that would not be uncommon, correct?
Correct.
So if somebody said, I was trying to speak, but I couldn't get words out, that is a possible side effect of strangulation, correct?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I would have to ask more questions if it was, some people are in shock,
Okay.
and that could possibly not they could possibly not produce words in that sense.
Okay. So, well, fair enough. So, I mean, being unconscious can impact your brain is kind of resetting when you're regaining consciousness, correct? Is that a
Yes.
okay? And so you could have difficulty speaking from being unconscious, correct?
Yes.
From strangulation, yes?
Potentially.
Okay. And confusion,
Yes.
which she described and she documented, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Zoe, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Rivas, when Mr. Kading was asking you questions, he asked you several questions about your documentation of petechiae on your report. Do you remember that line of question?
Yes.
And specifically, he asked you about page 7 of your report, and that's the page that has the different body parts and any observations you made of those body parts. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And as part of your strangulation exam report, are there also a portion that is labeled traumagram?
Yes.
And what is typically contained in the traumagram portion of the report?
Descriptive documentation of my findings.
Okay, and did you also, with the report that you generated as it pertains to your examination of Fatima, did you also document your findings on pages 8 and 9, that is, as entitled traumograms?
Yes.
Okay, and on those 2 pages, did you at any point document your findings of petechiae?
Yes.
Okay, and where did you document on page 8 as to the findings of petechiae?
Where I showed 2 and 3, area 3, which is the neck, and then 5.
And which area of her face is area 5?
Around the eye. Oh, I'm sorry, correction. The 5 is the eye.
Okay. And then also on page 9 of your report, is that also another page that is documenting, allowing you to document any physical findings you observe on the different parts of the body?
Yes.
And do you document any findings of petechiae on that page?
Yes.
And where is the petechiae as you documented for Fatima?
On her cheek.
Okay. And with regards to page 3, which is the page that talks about sort of reported symptoms, Mr. Kading asked you about Fatima's answers to those, and he talked about it that basically it was her subjective, that it was her answers. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
Based on your training and experience, when a patient comes in and indicate they have a headache, is there any magical blood test you can have them do that will say patient has headache?
No.
Okay. Are there any x-rays that can be taken once you see the results, it'll say patient has headache?
No.
Okay, and so when it comes to asking a patient, whether it's as part of a strangulation exam or any time you see a patient outside of the ER, when it comes to asking about headaches and lightheadedness and dizziness, are all of those responses in essence what the patient has to convey to you?
Yes.
Okay. And with regards to neck pain, when it comes to the level of pain, is that something that you can is there a blood test that you can have conduct on a patient that'll tell you the amount of pain that they have?
No.
Okay, and is that basically in essence something that is the patient's own words, because there's no test or x-ray that can document pain?
No. Yes, it is their words.
Okay. And with regards to some of the reported symptoms, you talked about some of the symptoms that Fatima had indicated yes to, that she exhibited signs of. Were there also symptoms that she in fact stated that she did not feel like she had?
Yes.
Okay, and in fact she indicated that she never coughed up blood, is that right?
Correct.
And what about nausea and vomiting? Did she ever say whether she had nausea and vomiting?
She denied any nausea or vomiting.
Okay. And Mr. Leary asked about, I believe his line of questioning at one point, you talked about somebody being in shock. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And based on your training experience, when somebody is in shock, is that typical when it comes to somebody who just underwent trauma?
Yes.
Okay, and based on your training experience, can somebody who just underwent trauma, can that sort of impact their ability to tell time or their sense of time?
Yes.
Okay, and with regards to, there was also questions about loss of consciousness. This might sound like a silly question, but when you're unconscious, are you able to tell time?
No.
And are you able to tell the passage of time?
No.
And in this case, did Fatima ever indicate whether she lost consciousness?
She did.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kading, recross?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary, recross?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Kading? Mr. Leary? You are excused. You may step down. You're free to go. Ms. Zoe, if you could come forward and take Exhibit 82, please. Thank you. Members of the jury, it's 10:25. We normally take our recess at 10:30, so this is good timing. Have the bailiff lead you back. We anticipate the recess will be 15 minutes. Thank you.